Oh, I love the Summer League, guys. I wish we could have the Summer League year round. Seriously, it is the best time of the year. It's hectic, it's stressful. I'm on my phone all day long looking for news, but I absolutely love it. Can't beat this 2 week stretch. Um, but yeah, before we get into the video today, break down the 5 game main slate. If you guys are new, welcome to my channel. Again, I cover content for Draftkings, NBA Top Shot, Prize Picks, Super Draft. For Prize Picks so far in the Summer League, been perfect. I've bet on 2 games so far on FanDuel Sportsbook, hit both those. And the first day of DFS tonight was a great night. And I would have taken down the windmill if I didn't have a guy that did not play. I literally took a 0 rolling the dice in a min-price guy hoping to get some backup run. He did not. Now, we talked about this a lot in Patreon, how basically if you're not playing a starter, there is DNP risk, right? There's a few guys that got ownership, especially in the higher stakes stuff, that did not play, right? Aturu was one of those guys. Once we saw, though, Emmanuel Terry was starting, he was the value big I went to. And that's why, like I said, being on top of news is very, very important. And it's not like you can't not play bench guys, but at least for the first day, and tomorrow as well, there's just some risks. So we don't know what the rotations are going to look like, right? So we kind of have to do some guesswork, right? And a few guys that, were relatively popular were not in the rotation tonight. And that can happen, right? And that is going to be, a risk that you're going to have to ask yourself, is that a risk you want to take? But it has been the perfect start so far. Again, Prize Picks betting and the first day of DraftKings for myself. Again, finished in 6th in the windmill. We had 3 of the top 6 were members here. And first place, I guess beating my 12th, that was 10. But this is the first place lineup. Saban Lee was my key. The key guy at low ownership that was the reason why I had a really, really good night. So this is the winning lineup: Lee, Christopher Livers, Banchero, Garza, Williams, Brown, and Schofield. And this is my lineup, 178, and I took a 0 from Kyle Alexander. Now, I knew that was a risk, right? He was the guy that got some ownership. I think King got some ownership. Oturu was the guy that got some ownership. That all did not play. And like I said, if your guys are not starting, there is that DNP risk. Or if you don't get the starting lineup, before lock, like we did with the Pistons, you ought to, make a decision. Do you want to, take the risk on those guys, or do you want to wait for maybe another game where, you're pretty confident you'll get the starting lineup before lock? And that's, like I said, it's stressful, it's hectic, but that's what makes Summer League great. So, like I said, Kyle Alexander literally did not play. I still won in the windmill. So this is my lineup: Brandon Williams, Josh Christopher, Jabari Smith. Was the first half was really frustrating because he just wasn't being aggressive at all. In the second half, he's a little bit more aggressive at a better half. But yeah, it was definitely frustrating. It's your top pick, the 3rd overall pick, was very passive early on. Tari Eason was another. So him and Saban Lee were the 2 keys for me of having a good night. The reason I went there was, so I knew Christopher was going to be chalk. That was a given. And I was pretty sure that Jabari Smith was going to be relatively popular. Again, about 50% owned. So my thought process was, all right, so that means people are not going to want to play 3 spun up guys from the same team. And Tari Eason, another guy that, if you saw in college, good shot blocker, good rebounder. Houston last year at least ran a very tight rotation. They ran a 9-man rotation tonight again, so that was good to see. Luka Garza had probably the worst first half possible. Got called for a couple offensive fouls. Just got very, very unlucky. In the second half, though, he had a very, very good second half in limited run. Now, we were expecting him to start. Another thing where, again, we didn't get the starting lineup before lock. I put my projected starting lineup for both the Blazers and the Pistons. I got 4 of the 5 right for each team. I did not think Stewart was going to play, and I thought Garza was going to start instead of Greg Brown. I was doing a lot of digging on Twitter videos, looking through practice videos to figure out the starting lineup. But yeah, Garza still salvaged there in the second half. Saban Lee, again, was key. Emmanuel Terry was solid. Again, he was the value play. Once we got the confirmation he was starting, he was a very safe value. And unfortunately, Alexander, again, I needed a mid-price guy. He did not play. Had he played, I probably would have taken this down, but hey, what can you do? And also one other thing to mention if you're new for Summer League, don't worry about snowflakes, fire. Like, it's going to be very rare to get a fire emoji. Again, they play 40-minute games, 10-minute quarters instead of 48-minute games, so 8 less minutes. So yeah, you're going to see a lot of snowflakes. So don't be worried about your guy having a quote-unquote snowflake. But yeah, so that is it for the look back, guys. So let's talk about this 5-game slate. If you guys are interested in the early slate breakdown, 2-game slate, I have that up on Patreon. We did very well in the early slate last year for Summer League. And yeah, so let's get into it. Start off with Charlotte and Indiana. So on the Charlotte side, at the top, we have Mark Williams, 9.3K. Was selected with the 15th overall pick. A guy that, pretty solid as far as contributions point per minute, average 11.7 in college. Do I want to spend 9.3K for a rookie? I think he's not out of play, but I don't know if I want to, it's definitely a risk, right? Because also we don't really know how many minutes, each team's going to give them. Whereas, more second-year guys, I feel like you can feel a little bit more confident. But, McGowan's at 9.1K, fine. But, probably would rather go to Williams if I had to pick between the two. Kai Jones, very expensive as well. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see who Charlotte starts. Because they're probably not going to start Jones and Williams together. You have Lewis, it feels a little bit pricey. There's really not a lot that stands out to me. I think the one guy that does stand out point per dollar probably would be JT Thor, 4.4K. These were Summer League stats last year. Got a little bit of run for the Hornets in the regular season. Not a bad point per minute guy. Also has that small forward eligibility. He's probably the guy that stands out the most. All right, on the Indiana side, so Benedict Mathurin. And again, if I do mispronounce these names, apologize. The rookies, it'll probably take me a game or two. But another guy that had some really good numbers in college, averaged 17, 5, and 2. More of a wing. That listed as a guard, but he's more of a wing. 9.8K. Again, definitely pricey. Draftkings did a pretty good job with pricing a lot of the main guys up. Nemhard, the rookie as well, had some decent numbers in college. I think he's fine. Duarte, this is one thing to keep an eye on here. So he's dealing with a lingering toe injury. So he says he wants to play, but that's not confirmed yet, obviously, because we probably won't get confirmation on starting lineups until like a few minutes before the game starts. But Duarte, if he plays, I think looks good. And same with Isaiah Jackson, who didn't get a ton of run last Summer League. It was kind of frustrating, but we know from just looking at these Summer League numbers and in the regular season, like he was really, really good as far as point per minute. So Duarte, Jackson, I think both kind of stand out. I think Terry Taylor, very cheap, 4.2K. Don't think they would start Terry Taylor, but pretty sure he's going to be a part of their rotation. And yeah, kind of an undersized big that this price point does feel too cheap. You have Washington as well that was on the Pacers at the end of the year. More of a scoring dependent guard, playable. And yeah, so that's it for the Pacers. Moving on to Brooklyn and Milwaukee. So Cam Thomas, pricey, but I think it makes sense, right? Cam Thomas is a guy that last summer really chucked the ball. That's just what he does. He's going to come out and shoot. He did that in the regular season when he was on the court. This guy is just a shooter. Not going to do a ton in the peripheral stats department. So, if he does really struggle from the field, he could hurt you. But, Cam Thomas is probably shooting at least 15, 20 times in this game. Kessler Edwards, a wing at 7K. You're getting a bit of a nice discount off with some of the other spend-ups. You got guys in that 9 to 10K range. Where Kessler Edwards is 7K, a wing, that decent rebounder, can stuff the stat sheet. I think he makes for a pretty good option in the mid-range. Duke's fine, but Day'Ron Sharpe at 5'9" feels too cheap. Another guy that got some run for the Nets in the regular season. Great as far as point per minute guy. Great rebounder. Can get some decent shot blocker as well. Sub 6K price point. So yeah, let's move on to Milwaukee. So don't know if I'm really looking to any of the spend up rookies from Milwaukee. Let's see. There's a couple guys that do feel a little bit too cheap though. So Rajon Tucker agreed to a new contract with the Bucks. Got a little bit of run in the Summer League, but not a ton. But assume he's going to get a healthy amount of minutes in this game. Only 4.3K. And then Sandro Mamukelashvili, Yeah, I'm not sure why he's this cheap, 4.3K. Another guy that would get run at times for the Bucks in the regular season, especially when the rest of guys. So those guys stand out. Zylan Sheatham at 4.4K, I think is a fair value as well. And yeah, I think that's it. So let's move on to Golden State and New York. So for Golden State and for the Lakers, we've actually seen them play already a few games in that kind of the pre-summer league. So we have a decent idea of rotations. However, we did not see Wiseman or Kuminga in the in that kind of pre-summer league games. So the expectation is that Wiseman will play. We don't have that confirmation yet, or that Kuminga will play, I should say. Wiseman is not going to be playing in this game, most likely. So yeah, you have Kuminga at 9.6. If he plays, I think he makes for one of the best spend-ups. Like I said, he was a decent part of the Warriors rotation in the regular season, the NBA champion Golden State Warriors, and just a guy that should be able to dominate. So I think he looks pretty good. Santos, Moody, those are guys that got a good, good usage there in those pre-summer league games. But if Kuminga plays, I wouldn't be as excited there. Maogape, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, started center for a couple games for the Warriors. Like, for example, if Kuminga doesn't play, he could be a possible salary relief option. Witherspoon also started a couple games for Golden State in the pre-summer league games. Another guy that, point guard has a decent floor with the peripheral stats. So I think he looks all right as well. And then Jessup as well started a few games as well. So a couple, interesting value plays here for Golden State. On the New York side, so New York last year, they ran they were the team we wanted to load up on, right? They ran like a 7-8 man rotation playing Obi Toppin and quickly like 35 plus minutes a game, which is unheard of, right? They're 40-minute games. Like if you're getting, high 20s minutes from your star, that's good. If anyone cracks 30 minutes, that's amazing. So not saying it's going to happen again for the Knicks, but let's take a look at some of the price points. I'm not sure why Sims is up here at 7.1, but McBride 6.3 and Quentin Grimes at 4.5. These are two guys that expect to start the guard position, expect them to play a good chunk of minutes, and both these guys can do some ball handling, and both these guys are not afraid to shoot the ball as well. So I think they both look very, very good. Jericho Sims just signed a contract. I think he makes her a pretty solid value play. This was the game that I played him. I was so tilted last year. Remember it clearly. 31 minutes, 13 fantasy points, and 9 fouls. He almost fouled out. But yeah, 5.4K. That does seem like a pretty appealing price point as well there for Sims. Fionn Hunt's fine at 5.6, assuming he starts. Again, not sure who else is going to be in the starting lineup, but let's move on to Denver and Minnesota. So Denver, as far as what I think is going to happen in the starting lineup, kind of unclear. Like Gillespie's down here 4.5, rookie from it was Villanova, I believe. Villanova, a guy that can kind of stuff the stat sheet, good shooter. Like if he picks up the start, I think he makes a pretty decent value play. You have a few rookies up here. I'm not really looking to spend up for Braun there at 9.5, but Denver's kind of the big question mark for me. I need to see who they're starting, so I'm not really sure how this rotation is going to go. So, like I said, a little bit of a question mark here for Denver. On the Minnesota side, so a lot of the rookies kind of priced up here. They do have a lot of rookies. I think the guy that does kind of stand out here, Walker Kessler. He was traded. He's a guy that had some pretty decent numbers there in college and swatted 4.5 shots in 25 minutes per game. So great shot blocker, 7.2K. I think that does look pretty good. Also, Bomara was traded in that in the big trade with the Jazz. He got a little bit of run from Minnesota. So at the flat min price, like if he's a guy that starts, I think he could be someone you could look to for some salary relief. And finally, Phoenix and the Lakers. So two teams that I think are going to be pretty bad in the summer league. Neither roster is great. For the Suns, I think Ish Wainwright does stand out. They have him listed as a point guard, shooting guard, which again is wrong. Draftkings lists a lot of guys as wrong. He's more of like an undersized 4, I would say, wing/4. And he's a guy that probably will be their go-to guy here for the Suns in the summer league. So I think he makes her a pretty good option. Lewis King, he played. I think he was in the King summer league roster last year. Another guy that just kind of decent at stuff in the stat sheet. He also was very good at getting steals. He averaged like 3 or 4 steals a game in the summer league. Olivier Sarr, 4.5K. So he's a guy that didn't get a ton of run, but when he did, he was very productive. So he's another one that if you see him in the starting lineup, sure, sign me up for that. Let's finish it up here with the LA Lakers. Again, a team that one of the worst teams, in my opinion, in the Summer League. We did get to see them, though, in this kind of those pre-Summer League games. You guys can check out those box scores. Rookie, Max Christie. Again, kind of a score-independent guard, 6'5". I expect him to get a decent chunk of run. Pippen, Scottie Pippen's son, started a couple games. I think a 4.7K, that makes him look okay. Mason Jones, Jay Huff. The only issue with the Lakers is they kind of really spread out the minutes. Cole Swider, I think that's pronounced his name, started a couple games as well. So, like, there's some guys that are pretty cheap here for the Lakers. And I think if you get, confirmation of starting lineup before lock and, a few of these 4K guys are in there, sure, totally fine playing them. Again, in the pre-Summer League games, they did kind of spread out the minutes, but you do have cheap price points here. Sharif O'Neal, Shaq's son, got a little bit of run in a few of those games. So Lakers intrigue me just because, the most pricey guy is 6.5K. But like I said, a team that is not expected to be great for the Summer League. But yeah, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for the video. Again, if you have been enjoying the content, just make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'll have a Prize Picks video up after this. Still perfect in Prize Picks. Hit the play that I made of the YouTube video for you guys last night. So make sure to check out that Prize Picks video after this. But other than that, guys, good luck in the slate, and I will see you all in the next video.